Welcome to Real Estate on the Rocks, where you get top shelf real estate conversations served straight up, never watered down. Here's your host, Dave Snowberger.
Welcome back to Real Estate on the Rocks, where you get top shelf real estate conversations served straight up, never watered down. I'm your host, Dave Snowberger, joined today with Marshall Tucker and James Mendez.
What's going on?
Not much. All right, so our last topic, this is really what, episode 2 of our 7 best lead generation activities that we could do. We touched on all of them for a few minutes. Now we're going to go and I guess let's reverse engineer them. Let's start from the bottom and go back to the top. How's that?
Yep.
Okay. All right, well, networking. Do you find networking? What's your perception of networking versus mine?
My perception of networking versus yours. Well, you got to network with the right people. So networking with people in the hallway and people of your own market center is probably. You do got to kind of know them a little bit, just kind of know relevance of inventory. But really, you want to network with people in other major cities. At least for me, for my referral partners, I want to network with business owners. I want to network with people who come in contact with a lot more people during the day who have similar type businesses.
Right on. So when I say networking, you're thinking referrals.
Right.
All right. So like in my head, networking to me would be getting out there, business to business kind of professionals, and getting out there and shaking babies and kissing hands and really getting out there and putting the name on the street, my name on the street. Hey, I
want to help people who are going to help me, and that's how I see networking.
Right on. Okay.
So you're saying there's from the new guy perspective. So you're saying there's really the two, right? Hey, I might have my name right this time.
Tag name,
right? There's two important pieces of it: your local community, the friends and people you network with to expand your sphere, and then people like as far as other agents in the. Not necessarily in your market center, but some in the market center, some other agents in the city, and then those outside of the city and state, so you can pull in referrals. And
not just agents, business owners. I mean, really anybody.
So there's really two sides you have to be intentional about building both sides.
Right.
Is the most efficient way is what you guys are saying?
Yeah, and when building those, like say your networking, your referral network, you find most of that through social media?
Right.
Okay. Expand on that a little bit.
Well, mainly Facebook. So, just kind of keeping that top of mind awareness on Facebook, liking other people's posts, making comments on there, and, really kind of targeting other agents in other major cities that I want to become referral partners with. And then when I can start, adding value to them, they'll think about me when it's time to send someone.
Right. You got a pretty easy name, too, for people to think about, Marshall Tucker.
Never heard of him.
Oh, you mean the barbecue guy in Georgetown?
Yeah, that guy. That's awesome.
All right, James. Same thing with you. Networking right now. I mean, you're gaining speed on Facebook and the social presence. I mean, what are you doing really to get the feelers out there for people? Like, hey,
made
look
your
at me,
profile
I'm in real
public
estate.
yet?
No, not public yet. So there's certain things.
Oh yeah, he's the private Facebook guy, right?
Yeah,
undercover agent.
Well. Because of personal things from before, I just wanted to segment it a little bit, just because there's been issues from in the past, so no need to dive into that part too much. Right. But I did create the business page,
and so
I still So I did create the business page so I can get the analytics and all that stuff behind there and kind of drive information there, which is also where I said I had the IDX integration on there, so you can search on the profile for properties, which is great, but it only gets you so much. It doesn't pop up in everybody's feed, which is where your personal profile does. So I share stuff from my business page on there, and so I'm trying to grow the network through that. And so I've got recommendations from people, network with other agents outside of your area that you can't meet every day. So I have some friends and family that live in California. There's one high producing agent that went to high school with one of my cousins. And so I asked her, hey, can you make an introduction? And then I had to say hey, just don't be creepy about it. But, the two girls knew each other. So
James wants to get to know you.
Yeah, right. And so she's like, no, I got you, and made the introduction. And then there was a referral that was sent that I missed, unfortunately, because a guy, while he was getting some information, found somebody else. but I could have had or almost had a referral based on that connection with her. And so now she knows, or she already knew after a nice conversation, that if anybody's coming to Austin, she can refer me to that individual.
There you go.
So it's creating better connections, and it's slowly expanding. And I'm starting to grab more of their information. I met some people on the East Coast that are friends of friends that are also in real estate. I just met a friend's cousin, I think, or somebody who lives in Atlanta. She does a lot of social media marketing and stuff like that. So just slowly kind of grabbing little friends
locally too, like San Antonio, mm-hmm. Houston, Dallas.
And I've started to make friends with other agents, so they'll pop up on Facebook and reluctantly add some of them. And so like I'm easing up on my fortress around my Facebook friends. So
we're knocking bricks out.
Give in. I used to pride myself on how many people that I had on Facebook that I knew every single one of them, and now it's lost. It's gone. It's like right at that, I don't even know, a little less than 4,000 people, and it's like I have no idea.
I know exactly how he feels though, because I was at that same stage at one time where I had everything private, locked down. I don't want anyone to know anything about me, and then I just made it public one day. Actually, I think it was an accident. Oh shoot, I've been posting publicly for the last a couple months. I just kind of kept that going.
Just got it out there in the open, huh?
Yeah, now I don't care. It's
Look at me, I'm Marshall.
Whatever.
Yeah. I mean, if it was just
what you get.
Yeah, if it was just me, I don't care. I'll post stuff about me. That's fine. It's some of the family stuff that I prefer to keep a bit private. But it is slowly chipping away. I'm adding people, and
for a while there, we were in a race to add friends.
Yeah.
How many you get today? I added 10.
See, and I
20 over here.
It was part of our strategy there for a little while to add 20 unique or 20 good quality people a day to your Facebook, right? And so, and then we reach out to them every morning. We tell people happy birthday, things like that. We comment on their posts. We kind of build that up with them, and it's definitely helped. It's like they're in our feed. They see that I sell real estate. Hey, we've got somebody that it looks like you sell farm and ranch real estate. And I was like, well, that's an arm of my business. Yes, I do. And so I get, well, we're trying to buy some land down there and build a house. Well, cool. I know exactly how to do that, and I actually have land listed right now. So it's a good one. It's a good source of really that building that, once again, top of mind awareness, the TOMA, and staying out there omnipresent, saying, hey, look at me, I'm a realtor. However, you're not trying to annoy everybody.
Right. What I also like about it is I can see someone is friends with like 10 of my friends, and I'm like, well, hey, we're all in the same family, and I just kind of reach out to one of my friends. Is like,
oh yeah, we haven't even brought in.
Why don't you ask them?
We haven't even brought in Facebook stalking yet.
Yeah.
When we do get a lead in. The other day, I got something off. Hey, is this house still available? And they sent a picture of it off my sign. They included that in there, and it came from a certain number. So I just real quick threw the number into Google, clicked on the first thing, and it took me back to a Facebook profile of somebody that's actually works for a title company. And so I sent over a uber creepy text saying, hey, being that you work for a title company, do you have an agent? You probably already working with a quality agent, right? Since you work at a title company. And she's like, actually, I haven't really decided on anything. I just really wanted to know the price and see if I could afford it.
I don't want everyone to fight over it, so I'm just going to give it to somebody that I don't know, like you.
And I was like, okay, well, here's a buyer's representation agreement. Sign this, please. No, just kidding. But it became a joke, and I think we've closed at her title office before. So when I let her know that it was actually me texting her, she's like, "Oh, you're an idiot."
What was that sign call that came in the other day that turned out to be friends with her on Facebook already?
Yeah,
it was small
and
world.
Now she's getting her license, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Now coming
that's
in,
how you do it.
license.
Oddly had that skill set from being an IT background. Found it pretty useful. I was like, I never thought that there would ever be a day where I'm actually like semi-stalking somebody on Facebook.
Or LinkedIn.
But I had an open house. So I was telling you guys a little bit about, and could not find the number or read the information that the lady wrote. Just chicken scratch kind of like writing. Now that I know it, it makes a little bit more sense. But I just started looking around and found her Facebook page. And then she happened to be doing some the vinyl stickers and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so she had her email address and phone number on a post saying, hey, if you need help with this stuff, here's my information. And I matched it up. I was like, perfect. Now I can actually contact her and give her the information she's been asking for. And on the side, probably use her for some mugs and fun stuff that we want to have some graphics done for.
Yeah.
You can pay it forward by doing that. And I would have never known
any of that stuff. Is she the one
stuff.
that did the big Old English vinyl thing on your back window that says realtor?
Yeah. No. Those things crack me up. Everyone said that they don't. I thought it was pretty cool. Like put the little signs up, and people can, while they're driving, call you.
Then you gotta drive the speed limit, and you can't cut anyone off.
You can't give anybody the bird.
Yeah. I will say one thing on Facebook: when you friend people up, don't just immediately go in with a message and try to go for the business. Friend them up, like their pictures, let them resonate on you for a week or two, and then maybe send them something. So
the whole thing it's a process.
Let them get to smell you a little
dive
bit.
right in. Yeah.
Come from contribution.
Let them smell you.
Yeah, they gotta smell you a little bit first.
All right,
that's the whole come from contribution before you.
Yeah, exactly, and that's that part of coming from contribution. That's our biggest part of our job, right? We definitely don't want to seem like we have commission breath, and hey, look, you're going to use me to buy this house, aren't you? No, I mean you really want to see how you can do this. I like the approach. Really, we've talked about this in the past week or two. Of more of we're professional problem solvers. I wish they would come out with a designation at the end of our name that said PPS, right? Professional problem solvers. And that's really all we do. We have a problem that a buyer or seller needs to solve, and we help them solve it. And how do we do that? We write contracts for them. We let them into homes they can't get into.
Vanilla Ice said it best.
What's that?
If you have a problem, I'll solve it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Marshall's out of here. He's just been ejected from the seat and he is gone. All right, let's pay-per-click, paid ads, Facebook. One thing I left off this list that I just noticed right now, and I feel like such a dope. However, I don't use them, so I know why they're not in my vocabulary. But ZTR. Does anybody in this room know what that means?
Yep.
The Z should have gave it away. Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com.
Never heard of it.
Paid leads. There's lots of people in our business that all their business is predicated off of really that is buying leads. It's frowned upon. We do have websites. We do have pay-per-click ads, things like that. I think it's a little bit different from buying Zillow leads. Zillow is we'll have plenty of conversations about Zillow or ZTR, Trulia, Redfin, Realtor.com, Open Door, anything like that. We'll have plenty of conversations about those down the road. But do any of you guys use those platforms?
No, but question. So since I'm new, why should I not start paying? If I have some money to start, wouldn't it benefit me to buy leads in the beginning? Or am I setting myself up for failure? Like, what's the whole, why should or shouldn't I buy leads from like Zillow, Trulia?
Really, because you don't know how to convert them. Really, it boils down to that. You're sold from these big companies that are calling you to give you business, right? To charge you for the business that you should really be out there learning how to get in the first place. And I understand you want to kind of take the shortcut. You want to do that kind of stuff, right? And so Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, any of those lead generation companies, they're just going to give you someone that they've done the advertising. They've won the search game. Like we can all in this room realize that, right?
Yep.
So if we do a single agent website, we can almost say we're just basically throwing money out the window. Search game's been won by Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com.
Yep.
Right. And so they get you really one of the last times I was at a big conference, real estate conference, the last number I heard for ZTR was negative 34% return on your investment.
Whoa.
Negative 34% return on your investment. There's people out there paying thousands of dollars for leads that they don't turn into anything. Just because they're a lead doesn't mean that's where people misconstrue what the lead is. Most people getting into the business, it's sold to you like it's automatic business. Mm-hmm. Just because they looked up a house on Zillow and have pressed a button and they want to know more information about it, you still need to know how to get that over to a showing, over to an appointment, over to a showing, over to a contract, over to a closing. And if you're a new agent, you don't know how to do that yet. Yeah, there's a process to it, and most agents just run into this and they'll spend whatever money they have left, what they can, on buying leads. And it's a dangerous thing because there's an 86% failure rate in our business for the first 2 years, and there's a reason why all the agents run out of money and leave the business within the first 2 years. I mean, 86% of them do that. I would love to see the number on how many folks actually spend how many of that 86% actually spent the money on buying leads through companies like Zillow and Trulia and Realtor.com? And I know their platforms have all changed now. Now it's even worse for them, you know?
I mean, I got calls from tons of people. My phone rang constantly, and it was not from people trying to get me to sell their house or buy a house with them. It was a ton of people saying, I can get you these leads. We'll build this website. You'll be top of on the search results. I can guarantee it for this, that, and the third. And some of them would have super odd, which definitely pushed me away, but they'd have, especially being in IT, like super odd search criteria. Like if they type in this zip code or typed in these words in this order, it would get you to the top. And they showed me some random website in like some random city.
Promised you the easy button.
Yeah. And how they could do it over in that city. And it's like, well, even the market center was saying, outside of fighting against some of the big name companies, how much they spend on marketing and where they rate. And even they said, hey, you can't compete with the market center or with not even Keller Williams as a whole, just the market center advertising. Mm-hmm. You can't compete with us, and we're not even killing it. So weigh out your options. So over $10,000 a month on some of the market centers for advertising?
Oh, I'm sure.
There's no way I could do that.
We've met people done a lot more than that.
Yeah, but they sell it to you hard. I had a ton of calls, and I was.
Well, I think the biggest hypocrisy there is the fact that they're calling what they're doing right there. Think about it.
Yeah.
You have a lead generation company calling you to sell you leads, doing exactly what you need to be doing is on the phone calling people.
Yeah.
They're doing to you, trying to sell you those people so you don't have to call them.
Yep.
It makes no sense. It just it doesn't really, it doesn't convey. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry. If they're doing the exact same thing that you need to be doing, but you're going to buy, leads from them, really, we can just jump onto a little tangent real quick here. There's no easy button in real estate. There's no easy button in real estate.
Nope.
There's certainly people that
It's
come
simple.
into
It's not easy.
There's certain people that come into this business and it's a little bit easier for them. Maybe their spouses are well connected. Maybe they've done real estate in the past, or their family's done real estate. There's certainly the things that make this career a little bit easier for others. However, that's necessarily the exception, not the rule. The rule is that we all have to come in here. It's a level playing field. It's all how hard we work. If you come in here, you get belly to belly, face to face with people, you get down in the trenches, you do the things that you have to do when you don't want to do them at a high level, it starts resulting in actionable items. You start getting people that want to see properties. Mm-hmm. You start working open houses. They want to buy properties. Mm-hmm. They may not necessarily, the stats show, want to buy that house, but they want to buy a house similar to it. They're there for a reason.
Yeah.
They've narrowed it down to that neighborhood or 2 or 3 different neighborhoods. Now it's up to you to cultivate and really bring that into fruition and help them solve the problems, right? So if they're driving around looking at open houses, maybe they don't know the best place to look. Maybe they don't know about the other open houses in the area, or the coming soons in the neighborhood, or off-market property, or pocket listings. They don't know that there's certain caveats to the neighborhood that would better suit them over here on this side than that side. Maybe it's better to live over here if you're a golfer because you're closer to the golf course. It's better to live over here because you hate golf and you don't want to be anywhere near the golf course and all the deer, right? So, yep. There's different things, and that's what we bring to the table right there. However, tangent over, there's no easy button in real estate. And so most of these things right here are designed around. I would love to put a strike right through that one about Zillow and TrulianRealtor.com. They'll exist. We just have to realize that they're there, and really, I don't have to pay them. That's fine. I don't think anybody else should have to pay them either. And we'll do what we can to help you along to not pay them for leads. Back to open houses. Tell me what your success stories with your open houses, Marsh.
My success stories?
Yeah, give me a success story from an open house.
When people walk in and they want to go buy a house immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quick source of business that way. They're actually in the car. They're actually driving around. They're actually braving the cold or the heat and coming inside the house. And that's your opportunity to convert them, to find out, do they have an agent, what they're looking for, and how you can best help them.
Yeah, their wants and needs. And so do you find on certain days that that maybe the weather's gone south. You plan the open house on a Tuesday,
on a football day, Sunday, church and football. And
do you try to cancel it that day, or do you go ahead and do it because you know that anybody that comes in is probably a little bit more serious, right?
Right. Go ahead and do it.
Okay. So what's the last house you sold off an open house?
What was that over there in was it Round Rock?
So yeah, that was a good one. I think you did that open house. You didn't want to do it. I remember I was like, hey dude, please work this open house. The seller really wants it. We've got to show some value over here. I'm booked that day. Please go do this for me. You called me up later on and said, hey, I got this fella. Boom. That was probably
it moved really fast.
Right. Yeah. And so I remember your reluctance to do it that day. I remember later on showing up and I saw you picking up signs and it was cold outside and you're like, it's freezing, but it seemed to work out for you. So
question with the open houses, which is, so I went to Power Hour, or I go to Power Hour most of the time.
What's Power Hour?
Power Hour is our morning little session for 1 hour where we go over scripts and objections for buyers and sellers. And like every Friday, most of the time, unless they're doing a presentation, we talk about open houses, which is a struggle. So I hate open houses when there's nobody there and I'm stuck in an empty house and bored out of my mind because people aren't coming through. So, and my conversations before are significantly different than they are now. I'm kind of curious, like how...
You shouldn't be bored out of your mind. You should be running ads or watching real estate videos or calling people.
Yeah, so like I'll read, I'll mess around Facebook and I need to be more intentional with posts. That's definitely one of the things I'm focusing more on. And it's funny you guys talk about doing an event or doing an open house during a sporting event. I did last weekend open house during the Army-Navy football game. I was pissed and I knew I couldn't get out of it because I had to be there and I already committed and we couldn't cancel it. I was not happy. I did not want to be there. Luckily, the guy has cable, so I turned the TV on and for the past the last hour had the Army-Navy football game going in, and it just so happened that a veteran, him and his wife were both veterans. She retired, he hadn't, and they came in and we were just cracking jokes. They were Air Force, so they weren't too into the football game. But it was great conversations that I've had, and it was nice to be able to communicate from the beginning to the middle to the end, and actually know kind of some of the questions to facilitate a better conversation. They had an agent, so I couldn't make a play on that, but made a good connection and actually got a job offer for the company he works for. But it was nice. It's good, engaging conversation. So I was kind of curious, like how you guys started with open houses and talking to people, and how it's progressed, and things tips you've learned about questions and hovering and stuff.
I'll take that one. So open houses, hated them, don't mind them. They're better. I like them. That's the phase I went through. Was I really just disliked open houses. I hated. I didn't have the listing. I was new, right? So I would have to go ask some agent if I could hold their house open. They would usually tack on some kind of like responsibilities that I had to do to it. It's like,
take the trash out.
A minimum of 20 signs. And I'm like, I don't even own 20 signs. Where am I going to find 20 signs,
Ask other agents in the office.
Ask other agents. And so I didn't know that. And so I go out and, I go to this open house and it's out in BFE and there's nothing going on. And I sit there and it just happened to be vacant. So there's no internet. There's no anything. My phone won't work or pull up anything. And it seemed to be, for some reason, I remember it being freezing cold outside, right? Nothing going on whatsoever. And I would sit in that house for 3 hours and do nothing. And I would rather watch paint dry, and just that seemed to be the reoccurring just the reoccurring theme of my open houses. I wasn't doing them intelligently, and I learned after really finding more videos on YouTube on how to do it, how to do open houses at a higher level, and just reaching out to other agents and asking what you do to drive traffic to your open houses, and then consolidating all that information and getting out there and doing them. I started seeing more and more. And now, I this is over a period of time to where I actually started taking more listings. So now I actually had my own open houses to do. I actually had so many to do that I had to get other agents before I started a team. I had to get other agents to do those open houses, and then I started seeing that people wanted direct, immediate information, And so one way I learned this from an agent was one of the hardest things was getting people to sign in, right? And so getting people to sign in is always, they don't want information. They don't want to be spam. They can't be bothered for for their email address. It's a safety thing, whatever else, but you simply explain to them that it's also a safety thing. Somebody owns this house that you're in right now.
It's like you asked for $10.
Right.
Did you sign in, please? What?
Yeah, $10. And so I came up with a new way, was to really, instead of shaking their hands when they walked in, was that I would just meet them at the place where I had a sign-in sheet, and I would hand them a pen and simply state, hey, the seller's asked me to have everybody that comes through the open house to view it to sign in, please. And I'd sit there and I'd stand over them and make sure that they didn't just write down chicken scratch, which was super uncomfortable at first, but then it was super effective. So I kept doing it, and then I would go as far as to, right when they were done, I would put their phone number, if they left me their phone number or email address, I'd put in their phone number and send them a text immediately. And if they got the text, it said, hey, this is Dave over at the open house you met today at 123 Main Street. And, here's my information just if you need it, because I could also see the box that they didn't have an agent. And so that started to be a little bit more effective. Now we had a conversation going within within our phones. And so I could reach back out and to them and, hey, what'd you guys think of that house? I could wait till they were done for the day, wait till I was done for the day, picked all my signs up, and at night I would send them something, email, whatever else, just checking in. Hey, what'd you think about the house? And I wouldn't offer. If I had their email, here's 10 similar houses. Here's 4 similar houses. Here's this. And I would send them something of value. I'm giving them something without asking for anything else. I've already asked them for something at the open house, right? Mm-hmm. So now I'm giving them something. Mm-hmm. Letting that resonate for a day or two. And then reaching back out, hey, what'd you think of those homes? I could see if they opened it, Yep. I mean, we've got the trackers on our emails, right? So I could see if they opened it. If they hadn't opened it yet, I would send them something, say, hey, look, don't forget, or I'd resend it again. And try to get it out there. So it was being intentional. Once I started being intentional about open houses and getting business and driving business out there and using the signs, National Association of Realtors shows that for every sign you put in the ground, expect one group through. A group can be one person or it could be 9 people of the same group, right? Mm-hmm. So the more signs you use, obviously the more attention you'll get, the more people, more traffic you'll drive to there, which will give you more chances to have more clients.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what I started doing. And that's how I started feeding my career. And then I started adding in a little bit more intentional. I'll wrap this up, but it was really kind of learning what to say to people when they walked in to keep the conversation going, or to even start the conversation right when they would walk in and say, so what house in the neighborhood is yours to sell? And they would tell me typically right off the bat, like, oh, we don't live in the neighborhood. We live over here.
Open house scripts?
Well, now I know, now I know that they don't live in the neighborhood, that they're moving in the neighborhood. And typically I could get why they were moving in the neighborhood. Great conversation starter, great way to segue into something to where, hey, go check out the house. I'll be right here in the kitchen. And I would not seem like I was, can't think of a better word, but I wasn't thirsty, right? I wasn't in dire need of their business. And that if I was here, I would definitely be able to help them if they came back through and had any questions. If not, I'd wish them well. I already had their information and send them on their way. Mm-hmm. That's my open house plan in a nutshell.
I think mine just kind of the same as James there is when I first started off, not knowing what to say, not knowing where to stand, not knowing, all those kind of things. So basically I was just opening the door up for them, letting them look around, and then they're getting out of there. And then eventually you start wondering, well, wait a minute, how am I going to capture these people? And so you just start implementing, small strategies here and there, starting off with your scripts, starting off with, little things that you do. Do you follow them around the whole time? Do you kind of hang back a little bit? Are you paying attention to what they're looking at? Are you listening, and trying to infer what it is that they're really doing there? But yeah, it just all kind of snowballs, and it's not one that you just go into an open house with 50 things going on. You just start adding it to your toolbox slowly, and one thing at a time, until you have a great master plan, and then build from there. But yeah, I remember many days of sitting there by myself in the cold. Forgot to bring a chair, so didn't even have anywhere to sit. Trying to sit on the countertop, and it's just kind of like, man, I need to change this up a little bit. This needs to be different. So that one you actually talked about last time, I had the projector in there on the big screen. I was playing Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man that was out, and I was just in there basically watching it, and not really thinking about people coming. But then when they did come, it was more of a warm, open, hey, come on in, and we was able to get that conversation flowing that eventually led to a sale.
There you go. Open houses. Nice. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on here. Well, let's get back up to the for sale by owners, withdrawals, expireds. For sale by owners, ones I know a lot about. For sale by owners are, I've done campaigns on Facebook before to attract for sale by owners, and not in the way you think. I didn't run ads for sale by owners, but I actually took pictures of for sale by owner signs and put it out there to my sphere of influence of my friends that if they see a sign like this in a yard anywhere in Travis or Williamson County, where I live, right there, take a picture of it, send me the address, and if I am able to help those people and get them sold, I will reward them handsomely. And typically, what I really got was always asking me,
"Well, thank you."
Yeah. No, but typically everybody always thought, or always would ask me, like, what's the handsome reward? They wanted to know what it was up front, And I'm like, hey, you gotta just send me what you know. Send me what you see out there. Take a picture of it, send me the address, and if I'm able to help them and we get to the closing table, I'll take care of you. $50 gift card. No, but
staying compliance regulated.
Right.
But that's actually I've never heard of that before. It makes sense though. Like I've taken pictures of.
You can say brilliant. I'll let you.
Brilliant. Mediocre. No, I'm kidding. No, that's actually really good because I'll snap pictures of if I drive by somewhere, and then I'll call them, and I've had horrible luck with that. I think just because on the time that I actually saw it and then called them was too late because they're already listed. Or I found one that I showed you coming soon on the for sale sign, had the phone number, and I look it up and I was like, well, that's weird. Why is it already listed? Come read the notes. Listed by agent.
Yeah.
I found I've had the
agent
best
owned.
by actually writing a little note and then running up to the door and leaving at the door, knocking and running.
Oh yeah, you find that effective?
Well, I don't knock and run, but yeah, leaving a message at the door, and we actually got 102 buffaloes sold that way.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Cool. Yeah, that's an effective way to do it. Really, any way you can approach a for sale by owner. Here's the thing about for sale by owners. All right, so say you call them, you go into your dialer, whichever one you use, however you grab the phone number, whether it's off Zillow, whether it's off the Make Me Moves, or if you get it from FSBO.com, FSSBO.com, I believe it is. You get the phone number from them, you give them a call. They're going to tell you that so many people have called them today, and they're going to be a little bit irritated because you're not a buyer, you're not immediately looking to show their place, but we want to come preview the property. Typically what that means is we want to see it, we want a chance to get in front of that seller, right? Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people don't know how to have these conversations, is that if you walk in there with commission breath or try to list them over the phone, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Where we've had a lot of success with this is that we've reached out to them and we just stay in contact with them. When we give them something of value, hey, do you know that if you did have a buyer, that you're going to need a seller's disclosure list? What's your email? I can go ahead and send that over to you. And so at least you have a copy you can print out and have that readily available. So when a buyer does come over or a buyer's agent does come over, you can hand them that and tell them really kind of like what's going on with the house and the date of the roof and when the water heater was replaced, or does it just anything with the house, and disclose everything about it, because in this business we have to disclose, right? Yeah. So you really kind of come from that space of contribution once again, and you're helping this for sale by owner out. Tell them you reach back out with them in a week, and watch that for sale by owner, and then it's dramatically going to drop. If they got 7 people calling them the first week, it's going to be 4 people the next week. Next week after that, it's going to be 3 people. Then it's going to be down to 2. As long as you're the last guy standing and you've came from contribution the whole time, and they're still ready to throw in the towel and list with an agent, you'll be that agent.
Yeah. One of the things that they were talking about, and when I first was reading the scripts, I didn't like some of the original ones that seemed like a very heavy, like bait and switch. Like they're talking about, I just want to come over here, I'm going to check out the property, I'm a buyer's agent, which they technically hit both sides because they're solo. And that's what they would kind of lead in with. I'm not trying to list your property, I just want to see it, I just want to find a match for a buyer that I don't technically have, but I could have, right, kind of a thing. Or maybe they have some in the pipeline and they just want to show the property, but their intentions were really just to list the property. They're just coming over. And so someone during Bold, the coach called everybody out on that and said, do not do that. That's disingenuous, and you are I forget what exactly he said, but basically a trashy kind of agent if you're going in there lying to the person to begin with. If you're going over there as a buyer's agent side, go there for that. If you want to list it, tell them, hey, I want to list your property and go from contribution, and work through it on that side as opposed to, just trying to trick them into it.
Yeah, that's some great advice. Great advice. I find that really kind of a double-edged sword because you do want to get in front of them because you know that with the right things you can get over there, and then more than likely you can help them.
Yeah.
We try to do that. We do need to know the inventory.
Well, even as a buyer's agent, if they're selling it on their own and they're successful selling it on their own, where are they going? Because they're still going to need to buy something.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean that's one of the questions that Marshall's won at a high level is just asking that question. Okay, so if you do sell your house by yourself, where are you moving to next?
Yeah.
Do you have any representative over there? Oh no, I can do it myself. Well, that's the one you don't really want to do by yourself. You don't really want to do either of them by yourself, but however, dealing with
you're not going to save any money doing that.
Yeah, you're not saving any money, so it's best to have representation going into this. And you can try to negotiate. However, if you're dealing with a savvy agent like myself, a professional agent like myself,
brilliant.
I'm not just going to discount my commission or give you my part of my commission off the sales price of the house because you're unrepresented. I would rather you work with an agent because now you're asking me to discount my commission, right? And so you're asking me to discount my services and then work both sides of the deal to work twice as hard for less money. You're asking me to do that. I would rather you bring an agent to the table, as the seller. I work on the seller side a lot. So, I mean, do you find that to be?
Yeah. And I mean, talking with agents, they're always bringing up that because it comes in conversation is the legal side. If I work both sides of the deal, I'm literally opening myself up for serious blowback if anything goes wrong. Even if you disclose, you're still very vulnerable. That's why they push a lot of stuff off to other agents or don't want to work with people who are not represented.
All right, great conversation today. We've got to wrap this one up. We gave it to you straight up just like we promised. I'm Dave with Real Estate on the Rocks. If you're going to visit realestateontherocks.com, please do. It'll be up and running here shortly. And wanted to thank our sponsor real quick, Michael Hare with Guild Mortgage. He can also be found at realestateontherocks.com/Guild Mortgage. Is it Guild Mortgage? Anyway, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
See ya. Bye.